Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of our Dungeon Boss Mode walkthrough series. Today we are taking a look at the next chapter. I know I said it was going to be a while before I actually did these, but I was looking ahead at the actual boss mode mechanics. I didn't look at the champion ones yet. But for example, chapter 14, the suggested level is up to 74, 75 now. Having gone through and beaten some players in PvP that were 74 and 75, figured why not give it a go. When I looked at the boss mode mechanic, it was casters only, which might make a lot of people run for the hills, but when you think about it, not all casters are created equally. Namely, we have two huge key players in the caster arena, and they're both part of my team here. One is Zom. Zom, I think, is going to be a major player in all of the boss mode dungeons, pretty much through the rest of the boss mode campaign. Him and his lackeys are likely going to be able to trounce most of the basic boss mode dungeons just because he is so strong. The issue with running an all-caster team is likely going to be your lack of healing. That's partially why I put Lily on here, because I thought, hey, Lily is able to heal the team up, and then the only other green caster that I had to pair with plant growth was Ferno, and Ferno is pretty awesome at spreading some of that stuff. So in addition to that, he'll get the oxidized sap bonus as well, so he'll do some extra damage to armored, which this particular dungeon has a ton of armored. And then there's basically just a fourth. It's basically just take your pick. It doesn't really matter who you pick. Zom is so strong, you could probably run it with Zom and three other people and have no problems at all. That's basically what I've found. Zom takes hardly any damage at all from my experience here. That's assuming that you have a highly defensive Zom, which, to be honest, you should. Let's just take a quick peek here at the actual stage itself. The potion loadout for you here, I packed two revive potions. Highly unlikely that you'd need to. I would really only take one revive in the off chance that Zom actually dies, and then I would actually bring probably either 2 energy or 2 healing. But for the most part, just pound away at them. My thought originally when I ran this was, let's use the energy potion on Lily right away, just so we can get going with plant growth on Ferno. After running through it, I found that that's not really necessarily needed. He basically, even with plant growth, because it resets every room, he can die a little bit easier, and so can Lily. So at this point here, like I said, it doesn't really matter. You can really almost just run this straight with Zom. It might take a little while to do so, but he works just fine. The only downside, and why I would suggest not running auto run, is you're eventually going to run into a situation where Zom is just kind of hanging out there, and he's going to say, hey, why don't I do fillets on minions and get my ass kicked? Because if you do that at the wrong time and Zom is just by himself and you're faced with several opponents, it's likely that he will get killed at that point. So long as that doesn't happen, you're going to be fine. And you'll see that Zom isn't going to take a lot of damage. And when he does do damage, he's ultimately going to get it back in the form of his Taste for Brains, as well as his, I think it's called like Undead Scourge, which is his normal, regular old life leech. I've also found that Shade doing his possession is actually pretty cool as well. For shits and giggles, I ended up possessing the final boss as well, just to have it. It wasn't anything spectacular, to be honest, but it's always nice when you use opponents against each other. But there's nothing overly exciting about this. There's really no reason to keep on running. Like I said, as long as you play it smart and have a strongly defensive Zom, even if he takes some damage, unless you get really unlucky where everybody starts pounding away on him, it's unlikely that you're going to have any real true issues. Even at level 70 in a level 74, 75-ish dungeon, he works just fine. The only issue with Zom is that he does not do a ton of attack, but once you get 3 of his minions out there, those guys can pack a serious punch, especially against those dwarf guys. So stick it out and it'll work just fine. I don't think there's really any overall concerns that you should have as far as the final boss. It was nothing spectacular where he's going to one-shot the entire team or anything like that. You just kind of slow play it and it works just fine. So like I said, that exactly there was one of the instances where I suggested that he'll gain some of his health back, is just that taste for brains. If you did choose to bring 2 health potions, you can try to keep Zom alive, and then your 1 revive potion in the off chance that he does die. It's likely that he won't die in any horrible manner where you can't revive him. So he's about to die here, but like I said, I'm running auto mode, not even paying attention to it. So we'll actually just let this play out here, and then we'll go into the next one. So the awesome thing about this particular one is when you use Zom, even though your people die, you will still get credit for the 3-star at the end of it, provided that you finish the dungeon with all of your minions alive. That's what we're going to get with the 3-star. That's how I got my Magma Lair boss mode. So moving on to the Hidden Temple, obviously some people are going to want this one eventually. Maybe farm some of those Hopper tokens. That's the only one in the entire chapter that has tokens, so people are going to be going for it. Boss mode mechanic here is a little bit unfortunate for some because it requires specific heroes. Unfortunately, that's how boss mode goes. There's nothing you can really do about that. The team that we're looking at is a good old-fashioned construct team. So as far as your team goes, I'm hoping that Furnace and Bauble do a bunch of the heavy work as far as soaking damage and healing. That should be the case. Agnon is obviously your powerhouse here. If you don't have Agnon, I do feel bad for you, but there was a pretty massive event, and everybody should have gotten Agnon unless you recently started. And if you're recently started, you're obviously not on Chapter 14 boss mode, so it's kind of a moot point. Your Agnon should be a super powerhouse at this point. He should be pretty much all attack. I don't have any good reason why you'd put him as a defensive hero. He's not a tank. And then Stonefish is kind of a mixed bag. He's a water hero, so he's naturally defensive. Doesn't have a lot of runes for attack. To be honest, my Stonefish was unruned, so I threw the best of what I had left over on him. And I had actually had my runes off of Bauble as well, because Bauble was no longer necessary after the combat revamp. The damage reduction mechanics were not quite as helpful, and so I plucked some of those runes off in favor of putting them on someone else. But we cannot change the order, we cannot change the heroes. All we can do is change our hero loadout, or not the loadout, the potion loadout. So it comes down to what do you want to actually do here. Now, I don't think that we're going to have any issues with energy, to be honest. If we're running into energy issues, it's likely that the team's probably underpowered to begin with. Start using friend heroes to clear this if needed. My preference is going to be more so of making sure people stay alive. We only have Bauble to heal, and if you brought an energy potion, you could obviously do his healing maneuver, but it's probably a safer bet that you go with the revive potions. Generally speaking, my advice for boss mode is to not taunt. I'm going to hold true to that as well. This goes all the way back to my original boss mode series. Taunting in boss mode is almost exclusively a death sentence. We do not want to be burning through our revive potions by the second room just because we decided to taunt. So all of these guys are pretty tough. They should be able to take a licking and keep on ticking. So unless you're feeling extremely confident in your ability to not die, you can maybe throw the one taunt on Furnace to give him give the team a buff. But to be honest, I'm thinking you're better off trying to use Bauble to buff individual heroes that way instead. So do the smart thing, play it slow. That's what we're going to do here. We're just going to slow play it, and unfortunately it's going to be boring for some. But Bauble is not an attack hero, so use Bauble anytime you can to buff individual heroes. Now in this case here, I don't know what it's going to do. Furnace is a tank. He should get a defensive buff. I'm guessing Stonefish will get a defensive buff. And Agnon should get an attack buff. He got healed, actually. Oh, you know what? No, my bad. The buff is only for non-constructs. So Bauble's going to heal all these guys. That's what he's going to do. So boss mode still holds true. Use your abilities early and often. There's no point holding on to these things. You can't take them with you if you die, so go ahead and use those. And it looks like what I'm seeing here is Bauble is going to be the linchpin for this team. That's a little bit unfortunate because now we're kind of strong-armed into taunting because I pretty much have to save Bobble. So probably should have thrown that on Stonefish. But Agnon's going to be your main guy here, so hopefully it's not too awful. We're going to split the difference here with both of these guys here and try to keep them both alive and keep the heat off of Agnon and Stonefish. Would have been nice to have the charge at this point here, but we'll work on our single heals here. Use your abilities early and often. And so with dual taunters, we should be pretty well set at this point until we get some AoE attacks like those Frost Breath. That's obviously going to be a huge issue, but Bobble will be able to do his mass heal on this next one. So, but whatever you have for high defensive abilities, let's see, we got half constructs. They're not going to take damage there. I'm going to do this guy here because I know for a fact he's got a brutal AoE, 150,000. That's pretty awesome. I've not seen enemy Agnons in action very much, so I don't know if they function exactly like him with the Plummeting Doom and the Terror Storm and stuff like that. Alright, so we'll run through some basic attacks here just to preserve energy. And then heals. Agnon's got no love, so we're going to do that. Keep him alive. I wish Bobble could self-heal. If Bobble could self-heal, that would totally change the way he's used, and it totally change the paradigm of the construct team as well. Or if we got a second healer, construct healer, I doubt that will happen. We don't need another construct healer. In fact, well, there goes oh boy. Alright, so that's pretty much your worst case scenario when we lose two people at once, but not a lot we can do about it. So get our heals back. We'll get our taunts back very soon. It's these guys here with their stupid granite form. Obviously that's not something that I anticipated, which I should have, to be honest. There's no reason to assume they wouldn't have been granite form. So I haven't used Terror Storm yet just because there's so much constructs out there and I'm afraid it's not going to do any damage. If we can get a room full of the monkeys, that would be helpful, but these guys are going to take 0 damage from that. I think it even says that in their thing that says 50% damage. It doesn't explicitly say immune to lightning, but I'm pretty sure they are. At least Agnon is. I'll try it, but in the off chance that well, he's not going to probably not have much energy, but alright, we'll save this time around and not waste it. So let's just, nobody can actually even use a heal, so I guess we'll just throw a random debuff on the monkey. Actually did pretty good. Alright, so let's test out Terror Storm just for the sake of doing so. Minimal damage, which was to be expected. Alright, Furnace is going to end up dying unless I can survive here. Should be just enough to be able to save him, because Bobble will heal Furnace, so. And we'll save our mass heal for this turn here. Alright, kill that guy. And I do apologize if this is boring, but it's important to see the entire dungeon play out, especially if you're going to be planning for some of this yourself. Clearly, I could benefit from having. Sorry, I lost my train of thought here. I could benefit by having a higher level. Obviously, that would be a good thing. I'm just kind of dealing with what I got here, so. Alright, so now we're actually at a good point now, because we'll I like the dual taunting, but I would rather actually prefer to do a staggering of the taunts so that they're not both down at the same time. That's kind of how I think the guys died before, when basically both guys you start dropping your taunt and they can just start putting hits on anybody. That's never a good thing. Alright, so furnace is up in full power. We can do that. We can do the entrails to get rid of those monkey guys, and then we'll just kill them outright. Alright, we won't kill them outright. I'm surprised that they took hardly any damage, but they... Oh, those monkeys are constructs too. That explains it. I wasn't paying attention. The monkeys are... interesting. They certainly don't look like constructs. That was just a short sight on my part. I better do a health check here. Hate to waste it, but I feel like something nasty is going to go on here. So get some kills in and just secure my dungeon. Secure the room. That's basically all you can do is at any given chance, make sure, like if Taunt goes down on Furnace, I want to make sure that Stonefish is up. So don't take any chances. If it gets ugly, then I have to start looking at using friend heroes, which I want to save that until the very end if I can. Alright, Stonefish, bring him back up. That was a little bit lackluster on Agnon's part. I was thinking he would finish him off. 2 rooms left, and we're gonna make it in under 20, I think. So we'll throw another taunt here just for the sake of doing so, and then we have to heal Stonefish, unfortunately. So let's try Terror Storm. No, let's not. Let's kill the highest guy here. Get one of these guys down. There's that AoE. Alright, so now it's going to come down to what Bobble's got in the chamber. AoE heal is what I am hoping for. I haven't been keeping track of his energy, but there it is. I always like to keep that on deck if we can. Alright, now we're starting to look good. So, full disclosure, I have not actually run this dungeon before, so if it seems like I'm confused on this or that, that would be why. So, I'm doing this from a confidence standpoint and not so much a, I've gone through and beaten this multiple times, here's what you should do. So, I technically do not know what the final boss is and what his mechanics are going to be, but we will see that in the next room here. Almost there. We have 1 revive potion, which is probably going to be enough. I'm hoping that the final boss is actually an organic and not a construct. That would be convenient, because then I could Terror Storm it up. I'm going to save that combustion here. Even though they're constructs, they're still going to be subject to energy costs. So if we can throw that on whatever the main boss is, that's going to be good. And we can see our positive charges coming up next too. So we're basically in as good a position as we can get at this point here. I'm actually going to try and finish this one out without wasting Agnon's abilities. He's going to be a key factor here. I don't want to... we'll save that for the end as well. Just because we don't want to waste abilities. And on top of that, we're able to get an extra heal in there. Always a good thing when you can heal. Alright, so I don't know if we're going to make it in the under 20 minutes now, but alright, so the Beast Tank, the Nymian, he is not a construct. That's good for us. And because I don't know what he's going to do or how he's going to do it, we're going to kill off his energy. And then we will also, unless I need to be healed, we will throw some unstable bomb at him as well. We're going to hit him with everything organic that we can, which he's probably immune to everything, to be honest. Added energy. It's just got high resistance. He's a living construct. He doesn't say he's a living construct. Well, that explains it, though. Nothing's going to work there. Yeah, see, at least Stonefish is a living construct, too, but his says construct, so blame the devs on that one. Let's see how he stands up to Agnon. Wow. Wow, indeed. Not exactly what I expected. We are in for a wild ride. These guys are all extremely tough. This is probably going to do nothing, so let's fix Stonefish. This is going to be tricky. I'm not going to try and kill that the Leo clone just yet. It's likely he's only going to bring one guy back, so he doesn't have a magical Solaris on his team to bring back the entire team. At least I hope that's not the case. So kill the guys that are going to kill me, and then we should be good. So if you're wondering why I'm not using Friend Hero yet, it's mostly because I want to save it. That's the plan here. We're just going to throw some extra stuff out here. Use up some of these skills. I want to save the Friend Hero in the event that I really truly need it, possibly for like an Emily. But remember, when we're doing boss mode, there's no shame in using multiple Friend Heroes. It's sometimes just going to come to that. I feel like they're going to be whipping out some walloping action here, so I'm going to just make sure everyone's topped off. Kill these other guys, and then I'll try and focus on the Leo clone. Again, if you're level 74 and 75, this is likely not going to be as challenging, provided you have a decent rune loadout to start with. So I kind of wish that when you use a Friend Hero like Hopper, you could clean up all these other guys here, but... So let's see what he's got. I don't know why he didn't take any damage from Agnon before. He had to have had some weird mechanic. Either that or he's just got... He might have like an abs of steel. Ah, there it is. Gosh, I should pay more attention. Per hit damage inflicted will not exceed 5%. So he's basically Agnon immune. He is better than Furnace. So we just need rapid fire attacks is what we need. So we'll just keep on banging away for 3,000. So if we do 3,000 damage, we should be able to tell what that is. If 3,000 was 10%, he would do a total, he would have 30,000, but being it's 5%, he looks like he's got 15,000 health. Reasonable. So I'm wildly confident that we're going to win this one now. It's just a matter of pounding away at the actual guy here. Do a walloping 3,000 damage. Yeah, hoorah. So what we need is somebody who can do rapid attacks, which is not many in terms of Friend Heroes that are going to do that. This here will be good. He's just about dead, so there we go. So that is Chapter 14 Boss Mode. We came in a little bit over in terms of time, but you at least saw what it's going to take to beat this one, and get your taunting under control early, and really work with Bobble. If you bring an energy potion along, that could really get you out of a bind if you need to use his mass heal. But it's ultimately going to come down to your rune set. So just to reiterate, the runes that I have, Agnon is all attack, Furnace is all attack, Bobble is heavy damage reduction, and Stonefish is just a mixed bag of just junk runes that I have left. And to be honest, Stonefish did just fine, but if he would have had higher defense and more health, I think he would have been a little bit tougher. Furnace just survived because of his abs of steel. So, but other than that, you keep the heat off of Bobble and Agnon, and you should be pretty good with Bobble's individual heals. So hopefully that'll get you through these 2 dungeons. The rest of them, to be honest, I would use Undead for all 4 of the other 6 ones. Unless the mechanics suggest otherwise, to be honest, I didn't look at them. So enemies have bonus crit damage, not a big deal. Use the Undead. And requires specific hero. This ought to be interesting. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So use Nimriel, she'll die. Zom will bring hers as a minion, you'll win just fine. If you don't have Zom, that's obviously going to be a much bigger challenge. Beating Magma Lair without Zom is going to be incredibly difficult. But if you wanted to try, here was my initial thought here. Obviously, Lily is going to be a big one because she's extremely durable. I would also take the hell's his name? Theron, because he's armored, he's going to survive a little bit more from physical attacks. You can never go wrong with taking Shade on any team, so I would take Shade. And then the last one that I would pick is actually Ice Bloom. The reason I'd pick Ice Bloom, she has a little bit of a mechanic to prevent her from death that one time. She also has an epic, if you do basic attacks, that will grant her a shield. It's a good safe bet to try and keep her alive. So that would be my team for going through this. But you're pretty much going to have Lily in there to do some team heals. You can't really get by with just a couple of healing potions, because you're going to need the revive potions, and the same thing goes with all revive. You're going to need the heal potions. It's going to be a brutal task to try and beat this one without Zom. So if you don't have Zom, it might just be one of those bucket list things for you. So hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to leave those below. Otherwise, we will see you again next time. Thanks. Thank you so much for watching this video and supporting my channel. If you like this video, please show your continued support by hitting that like button, and be sure to check out both my YouTube channels for new content all the time. And always remember, peace is a lie, there's only passion. We'll see you next time.